Hello fellow map makers, welcome to our next live map making session. Bells are there in the background, starting our session, but very muted because I've got the window closed. Well, it's been a while, but it's actually it's fairly cool here today, and the autumn is coming in, and so I'm probably not hearing much of our opening bells today. But we do want to do our mapping as usual, bells or no bells. And we are back to our big city, or my big city project for tonight's live map making session. If you haven't seen any of these sessions before, I started doing a big city a while back, and this is the fourth session I'm going to be spending on some stuff in the city. And I wanted to do more work in between sessions, but I haven't gotten around to do that. So we're still jumping in from little pieces and different things around the map. But today I want to build up a certain important section of the map and show off how to construct larger buildings from the houses command, do special shapes and stuff like that. And see how it goes. So we've got our map already open here, and this time I'm not gonna start a new one. Instead, I'm just gonna delete my starting text here. So what I'm gonna do, just for the basics, for any new people joining in, to delete something, I click the erase button. For text, I select text by clicking on the bottom line of any text line, like here. And then press D for do it, refresh to delete my map text. Alright, and just a quick zoom out to everything. I've got my little text notes are still on the map, and if I zoom in a bit, you can see the sections of the city I've already done, or done partially, really. See, I've done some stuff in just shapes for city blocks, basically placeholders for putting in buildings later, some outside areas, some ruins, a certain walled off section, the cliffs. And today I want to go for the Tower of the Silver. Basically, there's two big towers, or almost fortresses, they're just called towers in the setting, home to two dragons, the big blue dragon and a slightly smaller, less important one, the silver dragon. And I'm not going to tackle the big one yet, the Tower of the Blue. Instead, I'm going to go for the Tower of the Silver and build a little bit of that. As always, if you've got any questions during the session, post them in the chat. There's many helpful people out there who are going to try to answer it. If I can show off any solutions on screen, I'll do that too. And I hope we can all learn something from that, including me. I always learn new stuff as well, such as finding little niggles and bugs in obscure commands. Alright, so we've got the Tower of the Silver. I know it's gonna go in here, somewhere in the general area. So I'm basically gonna just start out with one basic thing to build around the central tower of the whole complex. And so I'm gonna have a look here in my symbol catalog. If I right click on the catalog window, it opens up across the whole screen, and I can see lots of symbols at the same time. And if it's too small, for example, then we can also change the catalog view through the options. Just show you that I can set the size of each individual symbol field here. Say I wanted to make that 150 pixel and 120 or just 100 height. Yeah, I can set how many columns of symbols I want to show. I can even put this to 3, for example. Click OK. And then you see I'll have a much larger symbol selection area on the right. And let's make that a little bit smaller again, 100 90, but I'll keep the 3 columns. I think I quite like the 3 columns at the moment. I'm gonna work on a fairly small area at the moment anyway, so I don't need that much screen space. So I want to put a tower in the middle, and just basically as a placeholder, I'm going to put it one of the small, that's an H tower. I do have something else. I've got the stone towers, but I don't want it in an open top with the staircase showing. I've got derelict ones. So, and then I've got the colors down here. See if I change the color here, for example, to something blue. These will change color accordingly, but I'm quite good with the H tower. If I just plop that here in the middle and erase my text, I want to turn on sheet effects. See, because here now I've just on the normal buildings sheet, and this is fairly small. Shadow on there, but if the tower should be high, so it should cast a long shadow. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a new sheet for this and enlarge the shadow effect on that, so I get a long and tall tower casting a long shadow. Let's see, we already have some stuff for different symbols. For example, here symbols 3 towers, but that's for the symbols. I want to work on the buildings, so I'm just gonna add a new sheet and call that buildings high. I'll leave it down here for the moment. I can always move the sheet around for later. Now I'm going to grab the sheet effects from that sheet, copy them, and paste them on the on the new sheet. And then I'm going to go into the wall shadow, edit, and then we'll make the length of the shadow 50 units instead of 10 units, so much larger. And then I need to move to sheet our existing tower, do it to buildings high. And there you can see we have a large shadow. That's just the start. We're gonna work stuff around that. I just wanted to show off creating the new sheet. I've got a question from Sue whether you could use the house tool to build a much larger tower. Yes, that's something I want to actually show. Just a nice prompt, because I want to basically make a larger area. This is just going to be the top bit of that whole stronghold building complex, or however you want to call it. So I'm thinking I want to start off with hexagonal shape and take that as the foundation of the tower. So I'm going to take a look at my house tool, whether I've got anything there that helps me for that. For that, I'm going to click the house tool. Okay, there we are. And we've got different shapes here. We do have a how do you say, pentagon, or that's actually regular polygon shape, if I remember correctly. I'll give it a try in a second. But I don't want the peaked setting of the house. Instead, I want a flat center of the roof, and for that I'm going to choose that roof type. And that way we've got basically this flat area in the center of the building. And now I'm going to click insert. I want to do the simple version, because I don't want the very detailed roof edge. There we go. And that's actually the the tiled roof fill style, and I wanted to go for the slate roof, so I should switch to this one. And again, the flat roof. There we are. That's the one I wanted. Now I'm going to do insert. And the command prompt asks me for how many nodes I want. So hexagon, six nodes. So I just right click to accept that. Then I'm going to click the center and I'm going to zoom in here to our tower. Actually, what I want to do, because I want to put this below our tower, I'm going to switch to the buildings sheet first here again. I can do that with sheets in mid command. That's not a problem. I can now just continue. And I want the center of the tower to be the center of my building. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take one of the modifiers, tools, drawing aids. No, that's not. My snaps is the one I'm looking for. And the center is F4, as you can see here. So I can just choose that from the menu. Then I get the pick cursor, click on the edge of the tower. And as you can see, this is now exactly centered on my symbol. And then I'm going to do a large base here. The only thing I don't like quite so much is this, that the center point is also, I think, aligned bitmap fill style, and that looks weird with the bitmap. So let's see whether we can actually change the bitmap fill for the interior of the house. Let's have a look. So I'm just going to do an undo for the moment. Go into my house command and I'm gonna go into the settings, and here we've got the flat color here, and you can see the flat color is set to the bitmap fill roof slate brown, but I do want a solid style here, so I'm gonna switch this to solid down here. And not obviously the pinkish color. Instead, I'm going to go for gray brown. The 38 here is fine, and that's much better. I can save the setting here again to keep that, and then I'm going to redo the house again. 6 nodes. Center point with the F4 shortcut. Oh, that's not correct. So again, did a 4 there. There we are. And there's my tower building with a much nicer interior fill style. So that's nice. That's a good first step. Now I'm going to build in a second middle juncture for that. I want to have that in its own shadow again. So I'm going to add another building sheet in between. So buildings medium. Gonna grab this again and change the wall length, shadow length to 20 feet. And now I want to basically do another hexagon on top of that. So I'm going to go for my house command again, keep the settings, keep that, and campaign controller does remember the last center point we chosen. So we don't need to have the 4 midpoint or center point modifier again. So we can just right click to accept the last version, and then I've got a second story of our tower in there. Hexagonal form with a round tower on top. Quite nice. And what I can now do, for example, I can grab a few tower symbols, also keep them on the medium sheet and put them on the edges here. This I can make them a little bit smaller. So let's take 6.65, about 2/3. As you can see, as the tower moves around, because it attaches to the edge of the building there. Don't really want that here at the moment, because so what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable the smart symbols. See, now the symbol doesn't do that again. Oh, and I can now just place these by hand, or I could also use the F5 modifier to place the towers on the edges there. Finished. And there's my ring of smaller towers around that. Yeah, Sue just mentioned that I should also do that. The roof tile bitmap fill would normally be aligning exactly to the house edges. And I'm already getting into zoom in here. It's getting it a bit. There we go. See the tiles are just always horizontal. Not on the symbols because they are inbuilt in there, but on the fill styles here on the roof edges. And I've going to display speed option. I see I have disabled the align fill styles here. If I uncheck that and do a refresh of the screen, you'll see that the tiles all align nicely to the roof edges, but that takes always a bit longer to redraw, as more of a strain on the system resources, and that's why I'm disabling that from working on here. I can even do stuff like draw all align fills as solid if I want to make it even faster. Then you'll see that I won't get any bitmap fills in at all. Instead, they will just have a solid color. But that's a step too far for me here, so instead I can also, the third thing I can disable is the shading, so no shadows on the roofs. But for normal work, the disable align fill style stuff is enough to make that work. And then again, if you need to speed up your display, you can always turn off the sheet effects. And that way all the shadows will be gone. See, and everything will redraw much faster. Well, actually something I could do at this point. Alright, so that's almost good, but there's something else I want to build. Basically a ring of wall around this tower, and a ring of buildings or a white wall, and don't have any house tool for that. I right from the start I could do a full hexagonal building or any number of polygons really, and any number of corners on the polygon, but it will always be filled in the middle. I now need something that basically surrounds a courtyard. And for that, I'm going to build a little bit of a help polygon at first. So let's have a look. I do have my sketch tools here somewhere. I think, yeah, my temporary layer is hidden. See, oh, this is actually where I highlighted where my tower should go, and I hit it fairly smack there where I wanted it to go. So I can erase this now. But I do want to do help lines for my courtyard and wall around the tower. See, I've used the extract properties command, clicked on my help line, and now I'm on the sketch sheet on the temporary layer in my red color. And now I'm just gonna draw I think I might put in a little bit of mixing this up again. I'm not gonna do a hexagon around this. Instead, I'm gonna go for a regular polygon again. I just want to draw a plain regular polygon, and for that I go to the polygon button, right click that and choose the regular polygon option. And now I'm gonna put in, just to mess with people, 7 nodes instead of 6. This time I'm going to use my F4 modifier again to put the center point in the same location. And now I can put my first line here. That's the inner wall basically I want to do. And now I could do the same again, but it's going to be hard to align this in parallel exactly with the same exact alignment of the corners, because I didn't use a grid or anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a offset. I just didn't remember the name of the command at the moment. The offset command. For that, I'm going to choose offset here. I want to offset just one entity. Okay. Now I define the distance I want this to be. So let's say I can measure that by eye. This is how wide I want my wall to be. Then I choose the entity I want to offset. And the side I want to offset to. I want my second line be on the outside. Left click. And now I could do that again, but I'm just going to right click to finish. And there's my exactly matching aligned 7-sided polygon. Heptagon. Heptagon. To matching the inner line. That's the offset command, very useful if you need to draw exactly parallel entities to an existing one. Alright, so I've got the outline of my wall, or it's more of a ring of buildings than the wall I want to do. And now I'm going to use that to build my range of buildings. I'm going to use the extract properties again on my existing buildings here to go back on the building. And then I'm going to grab the house command. And this time I'm going to choose the free polygon building of 4 corners and build my wall in sections. I'm just going to go back to the just straight roof line. I don't want any offset sides. And then I'm just going to go and use the endpoint modifier F5 to align this to my help lines. F5 from here to here, then back over to the inner side. This is the last one, and there's my first section. The only thing to remember is your first line always needs to be the one that the center line goes parallel to. And this way we are building our nice ring of buildings around the central keep. There we are. Now I can comfortably hide my sketches again, the temporary layer. And there's my good. Yeah, Torben mentions that I should just do a video showing off all the commands in detail. The problem is that it's a huge undertaking. There's so many commands and things to do. That's very hard. And yes, it's we do have a few individual ones up already. And but producing videos for all the different commands will take some time. Alright, so that's that. Now I just want to add a gate, basically. Showing that off. For that I'm going to switch to the mediums building sheet again. Something higher than the surrounding stuff. I'm going to choose the house command. This year I'm going to use the crossing. And then I'm gonna build this here, click the first edge, and now I want this to be parallel to the line here, and for that we also have a tool, and the parallel tool, or F11 key. You just click the line you want the line you're drawing to be parallel to, and you can see it now works exactly here in parallel. And the last one, same again. I'm going to use F11 parallel to this one. And this is our entrance building. Alright, so that's pretty good. So let's turn on the sheet effects here for a moment to see how our shadows look. Quite like that. It's looking good. And what we can now do is build some extensions to that, or for example also do a courtyard. I still have the dirt background here, so what I'm just going to do is I'm going to right click the road drawing tool, choose the cobble patch area, and I can use the F5 modifier to attach this exactly to the building corners, but I don't really need to do that. The buildings will cover this up anyway, so I'm just gonna do it like this, right click the finish, and there's my courtyard area. I'm gonna zoom in a bit, and I want to build up a little bit more detail on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the house command and use the extension modifier here to build a few interior little additions, annexes. And this one is I need to click a point within the house, then the house edge, then the end point. I want to go this to, and then I can set the width. And there we go. If I want the roof tops to meet, I can put the first point exactly on the existing roof ridge. There we go. And another one, perhaps bigger. I might do two here. Smaller one. If I want to keep this exactly the same size, what I can do is I can just copy the existing one here, do it, and from this point here on the roof ridge over to here and here. And I think what I've done, I've actually drawn these on the wrong sheet. I was still on my buildings medium sheet, as I tend to do. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to move these pieces I've drawn here to the same sheet the outer wall was on. That looks better. Very good. And to show off more of the house tools, I want to connect this to another large building area. So for example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a larger building or offset from this here. So I just but a normal house shape with that roof type. Here we go. I'm gonna grab this, I'm gonna make this parallel to this section here. go. And then I'm going to use this. I'm going to copy this point to here. And now I want another copy of this with the same distance. What I'm going to do is I'm copy this from this point here exactly to this point. Now these have the same distance from each other. And now what I want to do, I've got a comment from Torben that he can't see the full of the icons. Yeah, it's a little bit off, but it's just a tiny bit there. I'm gonna try and adjust the screen there a little bit. But it's just there's nothing further to the left there. Okay, that should be better, I think. Probably the window has moved around a little bit. Alright, so and I want to connect these existing buildings here, similar to the extensions I did the previous ones, but this time I want to connect the buildings. So what I'm going to do is going to use the house command and use the connection extra here. And actually I'm going to zoom in a bit so we can see this better. So point within house. Again, I'm going to grab the center ridge of this building here. Then the edge of the house. Then the next house edge. And this way we do have a connecting bit here. Now I'm going to do the same on the other side here. And here I should now, because I know these are exactly equidistant, I can just use copy on this connector. Grab this point, copy to this point. There we go. Then I want to copy all three of them from the center point here to here. And this way we've got a nice complex of interconnected buildings up there on the other side. And now I'm going to go in and I'm going to use my road cobble patch polygon again, and this time I'm actually going to connect these to the edges here. The F5 endpoint modifier, and there we've got that. Now I'm thinking I do want the plaza or road running around this complex here, and the heptagonal shape I already have. So I do need, or what I can do, I'll make that simple. I'm gonna use the extract properties on the road fill, and now I'm just gonna do a regular polygon again with the 7 nodes. I'm gonna reuse my last center point for that regular polygon. Got the one there, and then I can just do the rest by eye, and there's my cobbled area around the tower. Quite nice. Now I could do little things like have a look at adding some garden areas here. See, I'm gonna go down, and I've got some terrain stuff here. I've got the fields. Don't want to do any fields. Grass, terrain default, grass normal sounds good. So I'm just gonna see whether my setup works. Do a refresh. No, obviously the terrain grass is below the roads, which makes sense because the roads would normally be visible above the terrain. So what I'm going to do, or we're going to handle that, we're going to do a new sheet, and we're going to put this above the roads sheet. We're going to call that terrain grass, so we can reuse that tool, but just call that gardens. Oh, we need to move. Oh, no, there we are, correct. And now we're gonna use move to sheet, find our polygon here. Is it there? Combine not the buildings, do it the gardens. There we go. And now we see our green grass here. We can take a look on the terrain tool we used. Grass normal. Terrain grass is the sheet it's going to put on, and the trick is the asterisk behind the grass. That means if you have a sheet active that has the same start of the name, but then anything behind that, it will get used. So we can just grab this, save the setting. We are already in a terrain grass garden sheet, and then we can just do it like this. Hold a bit of a garden area here. Build a bit of garden around the wall edges here, or grassy area at least. Go. That looks good. We've got another question. Tom wants to know if you can change the colors of the different levels of the tower. You can do that in several different ways. You could apply sheet effects to do a colorize an effect on there. What you could also do is actually work on that if you wanted to do that individually on different buildings. Let's have a quick look. I'm gonna go for that was on the buildings medium, and I'm gonna hide all other sheets for now. See, now I only see the medium sheets here, and let's have a quick look here. Info list, and the thing is, this is a group. The whole thing is grouped in and can only edit it together. We could change all the colors, but that might change other stuff in between. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock groups. I've got the bottom here in the lower right. I think that's also a bit hard to see. Let's move the screen up a little bit. I've got the locked button at the lower right. If I click that, it changes to unlocked. And now if I select something, I see it doesn't select everything anymore, just the objects I clicked on the edge. I don't want this selected, so I'm gonna held down Control and clicked on that to deselect it. Then gonna just do it to have a look here. I've got 2 polygons on this structure shading, and that's the shading entity, which I don't need, but I do have the 2D polygon here, and I can change the color of that. Its color is 38. So I can just say change color. Now I'm going to do prior. Just want to change the color of the entity. I've got there. Just default do it, and say I want to give it a dark purple. And there we are. Now I show all once again. And now that roof section is dark purple. The other thing to do that would change the whole roof though, if I added a colorize effect to the building's medium sheet. I say I choose a colorize effect, just keep the green here. and that will change the whole roof color of all roofs on that sheet to that dark green. See, it affects also this roof here because that's on the same sheet. So it depends on whether you want to change all the colors of entities on a specific sheets or just individual ones. How to apply the different things. All right. Whoop. Here we go. All right. So what I want to do now is build a little bit of buildings around that shape here. And for that, I'm gonna first draw a few roads leading off from that building edge. So I'm gonna grab the tool here. No, actually I want to do the road tool, the 10-foot road, start here. And I just want to place down some roads on my map. I'm gonna connect this here. Oops. No, I'm hitting something else there. Well, that's fine for the moment. Here I'm going to connect the road to this edge of my plaza. Just going to go down here. I can always change the exact location and details of those roads later. I just want to build a bit of the layout so I know where I'm going to be placing my buildings. Yeah. Good. And now I can go in and work on my buildings for that. I'm going to go with the house command because I don't really want to go into the detailed house symbols at the moment. So I'm just going to choose my roof shape and the roof type. And then I'm going to use the stuff like the endpoint modifier or the on modifier to build up a few houses here. Can also do it other way around. Like this. Then I'm gonna mix it up and change a few of the house, draw a few houses in different shapes. You'll notice that I'm not using the street command, the random street command here at this point. That's because I want to have a little bit more control of what I'm doing here. Oops, this wasn't quite what I wanted. Go again. Then let's grab this with a variable angle. Just have to remember, not quite sure how, I think you draw the longer outer edge first. So you can do that with an acute angle. Of course, you can always put in the buildings with multiple nodes. If you want to make a fairly round building, it's easiest to do such a regular polygon and put in quite a high number of corners, like the 12 I've chosen here. So this is almost a circle. Oops, this is a very large one, not the one I wanted. There we go. Also, you can just combine these houses. And I notice I'm already again working on the medium height sheet for the buildings, which I should not be doing. So what I'm going to do is I do my usual stuff and move. Oh, now careful. I've got my groups unlocked at the moment, so I'm not picking up whole buildings. So what instead I've got to lock groups again, and then use the move to sheet. Then no matter where I click on the house, the campaign cartographer will pick up the whole group of entities, do it on the buildings. There, now our shadows are a more sensible length again. And here I still want to build up some connections here. If I want to connect specific buildings with the corners, I can always use my completely variable house. I just have to click carefully where I put my... why? Sometimes the memory picks up odd ways to display the effects. Yeah. Did I do an undo too many? Let's have a look whether I put my buildings back on the buildings medium sheet. I did. I must have hit an undo there at some point that I didn't realize. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to redo that and put them back on the buildings sheet. There we are. All right. I still want to can always use the modifiers like F9 on to connect walls of various buildings. And then a few simple buildings again. Here we are, and building here. I do need one here. If you've got things like this, let's zoom in there, and I've started the house on the lower edge here, and I wanted to draw it exactly along this house line, but I don't want to end here. I want to end somewhere here. I could just place it by eye, which would probably be fine, but if I want to be exact, I can always use the parallel to modifier. If F11, click on the house edge, and then I'm got the walls exactly in parallel there. And this way I've built up this important area of the building with the tower rising up around the surrounding buildings, with a ring of buildings surrounding the tower and the certain connected area of buildings that are all connected to each other. And this way I'm building up a special detailed area of the... Okay, let's have a quick look here. I think, yeah, they are on either different sheets, or because there's a little gap between these, the sheet effects will separate them. Let's have a quick look whether I've actually put them on different sheets. Yes, actually I've got the one of the things on paths. Why ever? Which one? I've got my square here on the paths. So I should probably check my my tool. I'll go to the roads tool, the streets tool, advanced, to my cobble patch. Yeah, that's because I actually called that cobble patch and wanted to keep that for smaller sections. I think I should probably just roads default plaza, because that's what I've been using it for, and change this to roads. It's actually on the same sheet as the roads, and they will all be probably connected. See, the sheets have their same sheet effects and edge fade, but since they are on different sheets, each effect gets applied separately, and where these two entities connect, Campaign Cutover fades both edges, and therefore the gap appears there. So what I just need to do is I need to move my plaza off where I'm on the paths sheet, and we need to go on the roads sheet. And now the road and the plaza connect correctly. Yes, Asa was there. I was so busy I failed to probably greet her. That's probably get me some indignation. All right, and here we are, and now we can go on and build the area around this here up with buildings. Excuse me, sorry. There we go. And what I probably want to do is I'm gonna I don't want to use the street tool here because that spaces the buildings too regularly for my taste. Instead, what I would do is I would go on and build my building blocks here, like I did with the previous ones. Using just grabbing the color here with extract properties. Actually, I'm going to set it here. Okay. Sorry, people. Just have to turn on the sound there for a second. It's good that we are getting to close there, and I just wanted to pick up the drawing tool for that. Yes, as Sue mentions, I did create a drawing tool for the building blocks. I was just looking for the same color as I used previously, because it does use the same current drawing color, and I wanted to keep the same color there. And I would draw my city blocks to be detailed later as I need them in this shape. There we go. It's not exactly the same color, it's actually a brighter orange. Info list. Quick look, buildings, color 149 with a black outline around that. Change color by current color. Yeah, it's 151, 2 shades lighter. Do it 149. And there I do have the same color for my city blocks again. And as my throat is still giving me a little bit of trouble, and I think I'll take this opportunity to finish the action at this point. Yes, Sue, just another thing that she asked is, where's the reference image here? I've got the big red X. That is because I saved before the session, I saved the drawing in a different space, and my reference image, I didn't move that with that. And since this is just not linked to a space within Campaign Cutover for installation, the newly saved map didn't find the image here. You can see that. If I edit this, actually no, list, what's this? Oh, no. There we go. No, not count, but list. Do it. There we are. It's looking for the Drakenhal JPEG in the same folder as the map is saved in. And if I take a look, don't have the JPEG here. Instead, it's in the Velocity project folder, and I can't see that. There we are. I'm gonna grab that, copy that, and put it in my current folder. Here we are. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I didn't want to save the map, actually. I just wanted to cancel. Now I'm just gonna wait for the export to finish. Photoshop comes up. And what I did there, I accidentally linked that image to the export. But no matter, I can easily change that back later, so I shouldn't do quick things like this at the end of the session. I just managed to mess that up. So instead, I now basically saved my export over the linked image, and therefore that export shows up. To fix that, I'm just gonna go in my actual folder and go into the Last Big City project, grab my Dragon Hall image, go to my current one, save this and replace it. And now if I close that and restart Campaign Cartographer just to clear the cache, there's my Dragon Hall image again. Just a little bit confusion. But we've got the Tower of the Silver done this session, and we are getting on to our full hour. So that's a good job well done. And I hope you liked my little further excursus into the city building and using the house tool to construct larger complexes and conduct buildings. Yeah, as Remy mentions IML, you're able to clear the cache from within Campaign Cartographer as well, of course. It's just what I usually do quickest. This is just close and reopen it. And that's another way to do it. Alright, folks, thanks for watching. And hope to... actually, I'll not be around next week. I won't be able to do a live mapping session next week. But we'll have another one the week after. Until then, have a good time. Keep up the maps coming. Keep the maps coming. And all the best. Bye-bye.